So the Meta Quest 3 has just been announced, and you're probably wondering, should you buy it? In today's video, I'm going to tell you everything we know about the Quest 3 and whether it's worth upgrading or purchasing if you're new to VR. But firstly, sorry if I sound a bit stuffy, I have a stupid cold. So on Friday, Meta had their gaming showcase and at the same time announced the Quest 3 is coming this fall, and it's going to cost you $499.99 USD for the 128GB version. They also announced that the Quest 2 is coming down in price as well. It's going to be $299 USD from June 4th. And they also announced that there's a big software update coming to the Quest 2 and Pro that's going to improve performance. The Quest 2 and Pro will see a 26% CPU performance increase and up to a 19% GPU increase on the Quest 2 and 11% increase for the Quest Pro. So this is pretty great news if you already own these products, and Meta did say that they'll continue to sell and support the older models as well, but we'll see how long that lasts. But back to the Quest 3. The Quest 3 design-wise looks like a smaller Quest 2. It still has the white shell with the black facial interface, but it's 40% slimmer and closer to your face, which will hopefully improve comfort. Performance-wise, it's powered by the new Snapdragon chipset, which is meant to offer twice the graphical performance of the Quest 2. It also has a higher resolution with pancake optics, and they haven't confirmed the exact resolution of the headset, but rumors from Sadly It's Bradley say it may boast a 2064 by 2208 display. So the controls are slightly different. They look mostly the same, but there's no ring around the top, which creates questions around tracking, but we'll chat about that a little bit later. And the Quest 3 strap is kind of similar to the original Quest 2 strap, but it has more of a forked effect, which will hopefully improve comfort, because we all know that the default strap on the Quest 2 sucks. Most important new feature on the Quest 3 are these weird little lines in the front of the headset. They kind of remind me of those aliens in Toy Story. So the lines at the front of the headset house the full color pass-through cameras, which in my opinion is the most exciting feature of the Quest 3. Full color pass-through is when you're able to see your real world environment within the headset. So for example, you can play a board game on an actual table, you can have things flying out of the walls, or you can have real life objects like pianos or drum kits to create a more augmented experience. So the Quest 2 kind of supports this feature, but it's all black and white and it just doesn't really look good or realistic. But the Quest Pro, on the other hand, does have full color pass-through that I absolutely love. But the Quest Pro was missing something called a depth sensor, which the Quest 3 does have. Which means when you see your hand in full color pass-through mode, what you see doesn't actually line up with what's in real life. And that's because without a depth sensor, it's not able to determine the distance of objects from the headset. While it's not a big deal, it's kind of disorienting and takes away from the realism of it. So the Quest 3 should be able to create a more realistic full color pass-through experience. And in Boss Takes AMA, he did say that the Quest 3 mixed reality is better than the Quest Pro because it has two high resolution cameras. And he said it's also drastically improved in terms of a clarity standpoint. So that's promising. But now you have all the facts, is it actually worth buying? Now, if you already own a Quest 2, I think one of the big factors will be the improved lenses. Improved clarity is always going to be less strain on your eyes, and games and apps are going to look better. But depending on your use and preferences, it may not matter that much. If you're someone who just wants to play Beat Saber or fitness games, or just stick to the same core games, then I feel like you're not going to gain too much from the upgrade because you don't really play those games for the graphics element. I mean, how much better can Gorilla Tag actually look? Don't come for me, I mean no hate. When I've been testing out the Quest Pro, which has the pancake optics, it definitely is nice. Quest Pro resolution is similar to the Quest 2, but the pancake optics do add a lot in terms of clarity. Like games like Moss Book are just so stunning on their own, it's a shame to not fully get the most out of them. So I think if you're someone who plays a lot of the story-based games or higher end titles are really going to get the most out of this headset, you're really going to benefit from the increased clarity and processing power. But if you're just someone who just wants to play Beat Saber, it may be hard to justify that extra price. But I admit I am probably biased. I think once you've experienced better clarity in other VR headsets, it's really hard to go back. But if you don't know any better and don't have an issue with the clarity on the Quest 2, then maybe it's best not knowing. Now, I think that the real benefit of the Quest 3 is the full color pass-through. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand how cool this is until they've actually tried it. I've been using VR for a long time, but when I tried full color pass-through on the Quest Pro, it was the first wow factor that I've had in a really long time. And then when I tried the HTC XR Elite recently, I had an even bigger wow factor because the pass-through is even better quality on that headset. And yes, Australians say H weird. And with the rumors of Apple releasing a mixed reality VR headset, I really think that the mixed reality feature is going to be the future of VR. The ability to see your environment makes it so much more welcoming to newcomers, and it's a whole lot safer. You're not going to accidentally punch someone in the face because you don't see them. It's just a whole lot less claustrophobic. I love the real life element of using tables or walls or even real life objects, even just musical instruments. It's just so heckin' cool. Like if I had the ability to play Beat Saber in full color pass-through, I kind of think it would be my preferred method of play. But of course, the joy of VR is the immersion, but sometimes I just want to chill out without the strain and claustrophobia of fully immersive VR. And the cool thing is I can have a conversation in the same room with me while I'm working on my art project. So I'm really excited around the future of mixed reality VR, but of course, a lot of it will depend on the games and apps that actually support it. Now, in terms of tracking, the controllers will no longer have the controller ring, but Boss Tank in his recent Q&A, he said that the infrared LED constellation that they use for tracking is now in the controller, but they're also using new tech that uses the hand tracking while using the controller. So it's tracking the controller, but also your hand at the same time. So hopefully that will provide some improved controller tracking. I also noticed that the cameras in the headset seem to be pointing down a bit, which may improve tracking as well. I was initially hoping that they would go down the Quest Pro route and use the same tech that's available on the controllers on the Quest Pro. These controllers have cameras inbuilt, so if you use the controller outside the line of sight of the headset, you're still going to keep tracking. And for people who play a lot of Beat Saber, that's very important. So it looks like they went in a different direction, but will it be better? I guess we'll have to find out. But he did confirm that you will be able to use the Quest Pro controllers with the Quest 3. And all your other features like AirLink are compatible as well. So if you're new to VR, I think the Quest 3 is going to be a really great investment into VR. Everything's going to be really improved. And while it may have a higher price point, I think you're paying for upgrades and features that you'll appreciate over time. If you already own a Quest 2, I think the big upgrades will be improvements in clarity and processing. But again, unless you're playing a lot of story games or high quality games, it may not be worth that extra price point. Maybe that money would be better put into a VR gaming PC so you can experience all the high quality titles and also have access to mods. I know some people said they were disappointed that there was no eye tracking on the Quest 3, and when I tried on the Quest Pro, I was kind of like, it's not as cool as I thought it would be, and I haven't used any games that actually use it. Perhaps if you play a lot of VR chat, this is something that's important to you. But for me, I personally don't see it as a particularly cool feature. I'd rather have a lower price point than more features. Ultimately, I'm really excited about the Quest 3 and excited about the future of mixed reality pass-through. But also, I'm really excited to see what Apple announced on Monday because the VR space is about to get very interesting.